I'm trying to keep my sodium down because that's something I'm really bad about, and that makes you retain water and gain weight and bloat. And I have enough bloating going on. Hi everybody, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Rosalie Klinger, if you aren't aware, and this is Back to Chubby. I want to thank everybody first before I get started who commented on my videos and subscribed and liked, because it's really scary to put yourself out there like that. And weight is something that I'm sure most of us are familiar, gets ridiculed a lot. So to be able to actually just say how much I weigh, what I'm struggling with, and have people be really supportive to me was amazing. It was huge. This week, I actually want to talk a little bit about what I'm going to do to lose weight. And the main thing that I'm going to do is meal prep and meal planning. I've tried in the past to do diet and exercise, but it didn't work out. I do have some knee and joint, hip, and ankle problems, but I found that if I can put all of my mind and all of my attention towards one thing, I'm more likely to stick to it. That's just how I am. It's not great or ideal, but it's the truth. So I've decided to focus all my attention first on what I eat and what I put into my body and what I do to it before I start worrying about strength and cardio, things like that. Now, I'm not saying that working out and eating healthy together are wrong, and I believe a lot of people should do it, but I'm just gonna focus on the food first. That's what I'm gonna do. And to that end, I've talked to a lot of people who also want to do meal prep and meal planning, and they just don't know where to start. And I completely understand that, because it's a lot of work, it's a lot of preparation and planning and commitment, and it get kind of boring after a while because you eat the same thing over and over and over. But I'm doing it. And so in the hopes that I can help some other people out, I'm going to actually put my meal plans and my grocery lists and the nutrition information, everything, on my blog, backtochubby.wordpress.com. And you can download it there. It has about how much everything should cost if you shop at the same store I do. It has the nutrition information, and right now, for this week, I'm sticking to about 1,400 calories a day. That might fluctuate a little bit, like if I feel like I just have to eat something else, or if I want to add some extra condiments to what I'm eating or something, that might change. And 1,400 is a really big calorie deficit when you are my size. And normally I wouldn't suggest that anybody just jumps from eating whatever they do a day. For me, it was probably like 3,000 a day down to like 1,400 or 1,200 calories. But as I mentioned in my last video, I actually started a couple weeks ago, and I started at around 2,000 a day, well, like 1,900, and I worked down to around 1,700 a day and around 1,400 a day, and I found that that's enough food for me, especially if I'm eating healthy stuff. Like, to make up a huge amount of calories in celery, you have to eat so much celery, and it gets just to be a chore. And for me, that's a good thing, because I like to eat. So to turn it into something that I'm doing for my body, something I'm doing to survive, rather than something I'm doing because it's a birthday, or because it's a wedding, or because it's a party, or because we're seeing somebody that we haven't seen in a long time, or because it's a Friday, or because I'm tired, or because I'm sad, or because I'm happy. Rather than having food be a response, it's now something that I'm doing to live. And so that's why I've jumped down so far. My primary focus is the calories, true, but I'm also focusing on macros like carbs, protein, sodium. Well, sodium isn't really a macro, but it's something I want to control. And fat. So I'm not cutting out carbs completely, but I am limiting them. And I don't even want to say limiting them, I'm just trimming back a little bit. And for fat, I want to keep that down fairly low, but I don't think that it's really healthy to cut out all fat from your diet. Just like I'm sure you've heard people say there's good fat and bad fat. Like good fat is omega-3 fatty acids from fish and avocados, and bad fat is, well, processed, rendered animal fat, things like that usually. I'm trying to keep my sodium down because that's something I'm really bad about, and that makes you retain water and gain weight and bloat. And I have enough bloating going on. Okay, let's try this again. And I'm gonna try and do meal prep as one thing, and I'm going to do like my weight loss and a vlog as another thing. And I think I'm gonna call it Do It With Me Weight Loss. And so I'm gonna link to my blog in the description down below, and I'm going to include there the nutrition guide for the day, the meal plan for the week, any recipes you might need, and hopefully there aren't going to be a lot because I don't like to cook, and what kind of containers you might need, and I'll include what I use, and I'll link to those down below too, so you can go buy them on Amazon because that's where I get them. And I'm also going to include the shopping list, and it's all going to be free because it is kind of daunting when you're getting started to try and figure out where to start to know the nutrition before you even get the food, and to know your nutrition for an entire day before you even get up. But I'm hoping that if there's someone in a similar situation as me, it will help them and that it will do some good. And in another video I'm going to talk about cheat days, because cheat days and I have, our relationship is complicated between me and cheat days. So I'll deal with that in another video. But first, before I get to all that, and I know I keep backtracking, I'm going to weigh myself. Not live because this is recorded, but on camera. And it's a little bit nerve-wracking because I know I already said how much I weigh, and I already told the world. It's in the description, it's in my channel description, it's in the links, it's on my blog. But for some reason, telling someone how much you weigh and then having them actually see a number on the scale seem like two very different things. I don't know why, it just seems more real. But that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna get my camera set up over with my scale and weigh where you can see it with me. So hopefully it went okay.
Hello. It's ready. £418.4 pounds.
Okay, so that went better than expected. Like I mentioned briefly, cheat days and I have, we don't always get along, and yesterday was my cheat day. So usually afterwards I feel like I'm kind of bloated, I've had too much sodium, I've had more carbs than I usually do. Sometimes my stomach doesn't want to work as well as it does for the rest of the week, so I haven't flushed everything out. Sorry. But I'm glad that that's where we were at. 5 pounds is great. I might have been hoping for a little bit more just because I do have such a big calorie deficit. But like I said, yesterday was my cheat day and I had more sodium than I should have and more just crap that's not good for you than I should have. So I'm happy with it. Another thing I'm going to do is down in the description box, I'm going to put the link to buy the scale that I just stepped on. Because if you're like me, or if you're around the same size or shape as me, and I should probably also put up like a before and after picture. Not that there's an after picture yet, but I should put up a before shot. A, just for posterity, and B, so you can see this whole mess. But it's really hard for me to trust a scale because of my size. A lot of them are only accurate up to like 250 pounds. Some of them maybe go up to 300 pounds. So once you go past that, you're like squishing the actual mechanism inside too much for it to read accurately. And it's just giving you a weird skewed number. It might be way lower than what you actually are. So I looked for a long time to find a scale that could handle something over 300 pounds, and 300, 350 was usually about the max. And like I said, like we know now, I'm 418 pounds, so that's not going to work for me. So the scale that I found back here is actually accurate up to 700 pounds. And it talks, so I don't have to like lean over and try and see around my belly to see what the number actually says. And that's good for me also because when you lean on a scale, when you move backwards or forwards or side to side, whatever, that changes the number. So you want to stand up and stand straight and look ahead and have the same position every time to get an accurate reading of where you're actually at. So this one, like I said, is accurate up to 700 pounds, and it talks to me and tells me what I don't want to hear. So I'm going to link to that in the description box below, and it'll take you directly to the Amazon page where I got it. I think it was like $69, something like that, around 70 bucks. And it's a little bit of an investment, but it's an investment in me so that I know where I'm at, and it works for my husband too. And it's an investment in my health. And I know that the number on the scale is only a number, and that doesn't say everything about you as a person or your health or, you know, what's going on with you or what the case might be. But for example, I mentioned I have some knee problems and some joint problems. Every single pound on your body puts like 3 pounds of pressure on your joints when you move. So every time I take a step, that's like 1,200 pounds of pressure. And that's a lot. So like I mentioned, I'm not really exercising right now. Part of the reason is because it hurts me a lot, and I get really worn out, not just from, you know, moving and being exhausted that way, but because pain is really tiring. I mean, I'm in pain most of the time if I'm sitting still, if I'm standing up, if I'm laying down. My right knee especially hurts all the time, and it's exhausting. And so every pound I take off helps that. So yeah, weight's just a number, but sometimes it's a really important number, and it's a game-changing number. For my husband and I, we're on kind of a tight budget right now, and I'm trying to keep my healthy meal costs down. And it is possible to eat healthy for not as much money as you might think, because I've always been one of those people who thinks it's harder to eat healthy reasonably, and it is to an extent. If you want variety in your diet, it's going to be more expensive. If you want convenience, it's going to be more expensive. If you want Organic, it's gonna be more expensive. And so for me, I needed to keep it simple. I'm not gonna do organic because I just can't afford to. Now there's some things like my local Aldi is where I shop, because things are pretty inexpensive there, and usually they're the exact same as the name brand, just in Aldi's packaging. But some things, like I've got frozen strawberries for this week and they only carry organic, so whatever. Or even the organic bananas at Aldi are cheaper than the regular, you know, just normal bananas at Walmart or Dillon's or what have you. If you don't live in the Midwest, it might be like Dillon's is Kroger, but I'm pretty sure Walmart's everywhere. There's some things that sometimes I'll splurge on. For example, eggs. If I have an extra $3, I will buy the free range or cage-free organic eggs rather than the normal eggs, because I don't know if you've ever seen where they keep chickens, but it's not healthy. Like if you buy just a normal egg from these big, basically factories where chickens just pop out eggs, it's not healthy for the bird, and if the bird's unhealthy, what comes out of them probably isn't gonna be healthy. Alright, sometimes I'll splurge on things like eggs, but when money's tight, I'll just get the regular gross eggs. And I mean, that can be the difference of $6 or $7 a week. If you get the free range, you know, organic eggs for like $4 for a dozen, or the regular dozen from Aldi's for 58 cents. That's quite a difference, especially when you're feeding 2 people. And my meal plans and my meal prep is all going to be for 2 people for 6 days. And so that's 36 meals and 36 snacks for 2 people for 6 days, and I managed to get it for $77. I probably should have led with that. That's where I was getting. Is if you're careful and you plan ahead of time, then you can do it for less money. You won't have the variety. You'll have to do a little bit more work. It won't be quite as convenient, but if you prep it all, then it will be convenient. And that's why I'm doing this. It's because part of the reason that I just ate so much crap and ate out all the time is because I didn't always feel like coming home after working, or, you know, being out with someone all day, or whatever the case might be, or getting the kitchen clean and then cooking. That just doesn't sound in any way, shape, or form appealing to me. I'd rather spend, you know, half of one day shopping, prepping, cooking, and then everything for the week is just there. You grab it, you eat it, you wash it, you're done. You grab it, you eat it, you wash it, you're done. Over and over. I'm off topic. That's probably going to happen a lot. I'm probably going to just ramble. Anyways, where was I at?